Mary stands at the courtroom entrance for a moment, letting the weight of the day settle onto her shoulders. The hallway behind her buzzes with whispers and flashing phone cameras, but inside this room, everything feels eerily still, like time knows something big is about to happen. She exhales and steps forward, and every slow footstep echoes off the high wooden walls. She's been in emotional battles before. Quiet ones, private ones. The kind where she cried into her pillow so no one heard. But this is different. Today, she isn't hiding. Today, she's walking into a storm she's chosen. The courtroom is already packed. Spectators fill every bench. Reporters squeeze into corners. And the Brown family, once united, once unshakable, sits separated like strangers forced into the same room. Christine's eyes meet Mary's first. Soft and sad. Janelle, steady but nervous, avoids looking anywhere except her own hands. Robin clutches a tissue, chest rising and falling too fast. And then there's Cody, pretending he doesn't care. Mary doesn't look at him. She goes directly to sit in her seat. The already stern and sharp-eyed judge raises her gavel. Court is now in session. The room stiffens. Before the judge even finishes the formalities, Cody pushes to his feet. "Your Honor, these accusations." The judge cuts him down instantly. "Sit down." For a second, his face sets hard, as if he would strike. But then he does not. He sits. And finally, Mary gets something she hasn't had in years: control. The first witness is called, and when the bailiff speaks her name, Mary Brown, the entire room shifts. It's subtle, but you can feel it. Everyone straightens. Everyone watches. Mary steps up to the stand, lays her hand on the Bible, and quietly says, "I do." When she turns to face the courtroom, her voice is steady. "I'm here because the truth can't stay buried any longer." Cody snorts under his breath, but Mary continues. "For years, I was told to protect the family name, to hide problems, to support an image that wasn't real. And I did it because I loved this family. I believed in us. But at some point, protecting the lie meant destroying myself." Christine's lips press together, almost trembling. Janelle takes a slow, deep breath. Robin's eyes widen, seeming not to have expected Mary to start so boldly. The judge leans forward. "Miss Brown, you may proceed." Mary lifts her chin. "There is something Cody hid. Something he asked me to hide too. Something that has impacted not just our marriage, but legal decisions, custody filings, and the structure of the entire family." A ripple moves through the room. The bailiff hands the judge a sealed envelope, thick, heavy, filled with documents Mary has held onto for years. Documents she never intended to use, until now. Cody watches the envelope like it's some kind of ticking bomb. The judge opens it, scans the first page, and her brows rise. This is a DNA report. A collective gasp breaks the silence. Mary nods. Yes, the DNA test Cody tried to hide. Every head turns to him. He forces a laugh. This is ridiculous, irrelevant. It was a misunderstanding. But Mary's voice slices through his excuses like a knife. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was deception. You lied to everyone, your wives, your kids, and the courts. Robin's hand clutches at the table edge. "Mary, stop. It is not fair." The judge sends a warning glare her way. "Mrs. Brown, speak when spoken to." Robin cringes back, her eyes glassy. Mary presses forward. "For a long time, I thought staying quiet made me loyal. But silence only protected the wrong people. Cody claimed something, someone that wasn't his, and the truth was buried under paperwork and manipulation." Christine slowly shakes her head, mostly whispering, "My God." Cody finally snaps. "Mary, you're doing this because you're bitter, because you're angry." Mary doesn't blink. "Yes, I'm angry, but not at what you think. I'm angry that you let me carry the weight of your lies. Angry that you expected me to help hide something so big, something that affects a child, and a family, and our entire future." The judge clears her voice. "Ms. Brown, exactly what does the DNA test reveal?" The room holds its breath. Mary responds with a trembling exhalation. "It proves that Cody is not biologically connected to a child he has always claimed as his own." Time stops. The color drains from Robin's face. Christine gasps. Janelle covers her mouth with her hand. Cody's jaw clenches so tight that a vein pulses in his neck. And trust me, what you think this means is only half the truth. Stay close. It gets even deeper. The judge flips through more pages, her eyes narrowing with every line. "Mr. Brown, is this accurate?" Cody spits. "It's complicated." "It's a lie," Mary hisses. The judge turns back to Mary. "You're alleging fraud?" "Yes," Mary responds. "Fraud, coercion, and intentional misrepresentation." The courtroom hums like a hive. Reporters scribble, cameras click. Tension mounts. Robin's voice breaks. "Mary, no, please." But Mary looks at her with something softer than anger. "I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because the truth has already hurt all of us." The judge breathes out slowly, tapping her pen on the desk. "We will recess in 15 minutes. When we return, Mr. Brown will answer questions under oath regarding these documents." Cody stiffens. "Your Honor." "No further discussion," she cuts him off. Mary steps down from the stand and walks back to her seat. Her legs feel heavy, but her heart lighter. Christine walks up to her, quietly. "You've been carrying this alone?" Mary nods. "For too long." Christine touches her arm, the silent apology in her eyes. The courtroom begins to empty, buzzing with shock. Chairs scrape. Whispers fly. Reporters rush out. Just as Mary gathers her papers, the judge's clerk steps forward, holding a manila folder. "This was anonymously delivered to the court this morning," he says. "The label on it is quite simple. One name only. Cody Brown." The clerk places it on the judge's desk. Mary freezes. Christine's mouth falls open. Robin wipes her tears, looking befuddled. Cody looks at the envelope as if he recognizes it, or fears it. What's inside? More lies? More secrets? Something darker. The judge lays her hand on the folder, unread, and the room silences again, hanging in that moment like it will snap in half. Because whatever is inside, it wasn't sent by Mary. It wasn't sent by Robin, and they weren't from his other wives. Someone else out there knows something. When recess ends, the courtroom feels different. The air is tighter, the whispering sharper. People keep glancing at the anonymous folder on the judge's desk as if it might explode. Even the reporters, normally loud and chaotic, sit still with their pens hovering above their notepads. But the one looking the most shook is Cody. He walks back to his seat with stiff shoulders, jaw squared, eyes darting between the judge, Mary, and that file. It's a small thing, just a manila folder, but the way he keeps glancing at it betrays something he'd never admit out loud. Fear. Mary watches him from across the room, not with anger this time, but with a strange, quiet sadness. She knows that whatever is inside that folder isn't going to paint him as a hero. It might not even paint him as human. But she also knows this isn't just about him anymore. This is about the truth finally reaching the surface after years of being buried under loyalty and manipulation. The judge adjusts her robe, sits, and lifts her gavel. Court is back in session. Before we proceed with questioning Mr. Brown regarding the DNA documents, we will address the anonymous file submitted earlier. The room holds its collective breath. Cody stands abruptly. Your Honor, before you open that file, I need to. The judge cuts him off so quickly, it almost seems scripted. Mr. Brown, sit. Yeah, he does. Angry, but powerless. The judge taps the folder with her finger. This will be opened and reviewed, but first, Mr. Brown, you will answer the court's questions regarding the evidence already submitted. Please approach the stand. Cody hesitates. For the first time in his life, he looks like a man walking towards something he's been running from for years. He moves slowly to the stand. Not confidently, not arrogantly, almost reluctantly, like each step costs him something. He is sworn in. He sits. And suddenly, the courtroom feels small. Too small for the weight of what is about to happen. The judge's voice is steady. Mr. Brown, do you acknowledge that the DNA report submitted by Miss Brown is authentic? Cody's throat bobs as he swallows. I know a test was taken. That's not the question, the judge says sharply. Is the test genuine? A long pause. And then, yes. A murmur runs through the crowd like a spark to dry wood. Robin clasps her hands together, shaking her head. Christine closes her eyes. Janelle stiffens, absorbing the confirmation. Mary doesn't react physically, but inside, something deep inside her exhales, like a wound finally opening to heal. The judge leans forward. You claimed paternal rights to a child who is biologically unrelated to you. Is that correct? Cody's voice tightens. Yes, but it's not what it looks like. Then explain, says the judge. Cody sighs heavily, shifting in the chair. It was complicated. At the time, the family was under scrutiny. The state laws were changing. Our structure, our unity, it mattered. If certain information got out, things could have fallen apart. People were already judging us. We were protecting our family. Mary hears the word protecting and feels something inside her fracture all over again. The judge doesn't let him drift into dramatics. Mr. Brown, did you falsify paperwork? Again, he hesitates. Yes, he finally whispers. Gasps are flying everywhere. Robin flinches like she's been slapped. Christine grips the bench. A reporter actually drops a pen. Cody tries to defend himself. But it wasn't intentional fraud. It was, Mr. Brown, the judge snaps. Do not insult this court by pretending this was accidental. His mouth opens, then closes. Silence. The judge continues, voice icy. Your actions affected custody filings, marital assets, and the legal stability of multiple households. This is not a small oversight. It is an intentional deception. Robin breaks down in tears. Please, please don't do this. You don't understand why he did it. The judge turns her gaze toward Robin with razor precision. Mrs. Brown, if you speak out of turn again, you will be escorted out. Robin chokes back her sobs, shaking. Mary watches the unraveling with mixed emotions. She isn't gleeful. She isn't proud. She just feels tired. Tired of carrying the guilt for someone else's choices. Tired of being told that loyalty meant silence. But before anything else can be said, the judge lays a hand on the anonymous folder. Now, she says, we will review the newly submitted evidence. Cody stiffens. Mary's breath catches. Robin says softly, please don't. The judge opens the folder. Inside is a stack of printed emails, screenshots of text messages, and 3 handwritten letters. She flips through them slowly at first, then faster, eyes widening with every page. Then she stops, freezes, and rereads one of those sheets. The judge lowers it. Mr. Brown, Are you aware of these communications? Cody's response is immediate and vocal. I don't know what that is. Some kind of setup. That is ridiculous. One sentence from the judge cuts him off. These are messages between you and a private investigator. Mary's heart drops. Christine looks surprised. Janelle's eyes widen. Robin's breath hitches audibly. But Cody turns white. The judge continues. According to these records, you hired a private investigator 2 years ago to follow one of your wives. The room explodes in a whisper. The judge bangs his gavel. Silence. She speaks again when the room calms. Mr. Brown, these are not allegations. These are written communications, dated, time-stamped, and verified. Cody's jaw is quivering. I had reasons. The judge lifts one paper. You instructed the investigator to gather evidence that could be used to discredit her in case of separation. That is a direct quote. Mary's blood runs cold. She knows which wife that refers to. She knows it without hearing the name. Christine. Because she remembers the day Christine left. She remembers Cody's rage, his desperation, his threats of legal consequences, but the fact that he actually hired someone to track her. Even Mary wasn't expecting that. The judge furthers his reading aloud. Subject was monitored for 3 months. No evidence of infidelity. No evidence of misconduct. She appears to be seeking emotional stability after prolonged psychological stress. Christine slams her palms onto her mouth. Tears well up in her eyes. Not from guilt, from heartbreak. Mary feels tears sting her own eyes. This isn't courtroom drama anymore. This is real pain. Real betrayal. And Cody? He looks like his whole world is coming down. But the judge isn't finished yet. There is also a recorded phone call, she says, lifting a USB drive. Between you and the investigator. Cody lurches forward. Your Honor, that recording is private. It is evidence, the judge corrects him. Evidence submitted anonymously and admissible. The courtroom is so quiet you can hear the hum of the fluorescent lights. The judge turns to the bailiff. Please prepare the audio for playback. Cody shakes his head violently. No, you can't play that. You don't understand the context. The judge fixes him with a stare that could freeze fire. You will sit down. Right now. En's point. Panicked. Because whatever is in that recording, he knows it's bad. The bailiff inserts the USB. The speakers crackle. The judge presses play. The voice rises in the courtroom. A man's voice. Tired, angry, frustrated. Cody's voice. I don't care what it takes. I need something I can use. She can't walk away from me and make me look like the villain. Christine's hand falls from her mouth. Mary can feel her stomach twist. Robin stares at Cody, horrified. And the recording continues. Just get me something. Anything. I'll pay double if you can dig up something that sticks. The judge cuts off the audio. Silence. Complete. Suffocating. Christine is now openly crying. Janelle is shaking. Mary feels tears slip down her cheek. And Cody? He doesn't move. Doesn't blink. Doesn't breathe. The judge leans back slowly, eyes locked on him. Mr. Brown, you have a great deal of explaining to do. But before she can say more, someone stands at the back of the courtroom. A shadowy figure. Quiet. Still. The judge notices the movement. Excuse me, sir. This is a closed proceeding. Identify yourself. The figure steps closer. The door closes behind him. And he says, I'm the one who sent the file. Gasps erupt. Mary turns. Christine freezes. Robin's eyes widen. Cody whispers, barely audible. No, not you. The man steps into the light. and the entire courtroom recoils, because everyone knows him. The courtroom door creaked open again, but this time, nobody dared turn their head. Everyone already knew who was walking in, because they could hear his footsteps long before they saw him. Cody Brown. He walked in with a strange mix of confidence and tension, like a man rehearsing calmness but losing the battle inside. His jaw was tight, his eyes scanning the room as if searching for allies, but finding none. Even the courtroom guards didn't make eye contact. Christine straightened in her seat. Janelle exhaled sharply. Mary didn't move, not even a blink. Robin's face twisted into a small, hopeful smile. And the judge? He looked mildly irritated, as though this arrival was expected and dreaded. It was Mary whom Cody first saw. She stared back, completely emotionless. Then his gaze flicked to Robin, his last standing wife, the one he always defended above all others. She gave him a small nod, almost whispering through her expression, "Say exactly what we practiced." But Cody's hands shook slightly. Something was wrong. Something Robin didn't know. Something that would break the courtroom open like thunder. He slowly approached the stand, adjusting his collar like he needed more air. As he sat down, the judge leaned forward, tired, impatient, but aware that this moment would determine the direction of the entire case. "Cody Brown," the judge said, "you are here voluntarily to give your statement. Remember that dishonesty will have consequences." Cody swallowed. "I comprehend, Your Honor." His voice cracked, just barely, but it was enough. Every woman who had ever loved Cody, ever fought him, ever defended him, recognized that tiny break. He was frightened. The prosecutor came forward, cool and calculated. "Mr. Brown," she began, "today we are examining financial discrepancies, property issues, and emotional manipulation claims from multiple plaintiffs, your former wives." Cody nodded, stiff. "But before we begin those details, there is something else. Something that Mary Brown submitted this morning that requires your immediate response." Robin's head jerked toward Mary. Alarm filled her eyes. Mary submitted something? What? When? Christine folded her arms. Janelle sat forward, suddenly alert. He reached into a folder and pulled out a sealed envelope, very slowly. The color drained from his face. Robin stiffened. Inside that envelope was the one thing that Cody had prayed would never appear. The one thing that had the power to dismantle his version of the story, his reputation, his control. A letter. His letter, written years ago, written in anger, in fear written, and written to Mary. She tapped the envelope with her finger. "Mr. Brown, before I open this, would you like to explain what this letter contains?" Cody's fingers curled into fists. I don't think that needs to go in the court." "Cody," the prosecutor replied coldly, "the court will see it. The only question is whether you want to explain it first, or whether we should read it out loud." The silence hit like a shockwave. Robin whispered sharply, "Cody, say something," but he couldn't. He sat frozen, eyes darting between the prosecutor and Mary. Then Mary spoke softly and painfully, but with the weight of truth. "You wrote that letter the night everything changed. The night you told me you had chosen Robin long before any of us knew. The night you blamed me for your guilt. That letter is the truth, Cody, not the version you tell cameras." Cody's throat constricted. "Mary, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," she cut him off. "For the first time in years, I understand everything." The prosecutor broke the seal. Cody flinched as though hit. Paper slid out. A folded letter, slightly yellowed at the edges. Proof of a reality Cody had tried to rewrite for a decade. The prosecutor unfolded it carefully, then read, "Mary, I cannot keep pretending anymore. I chose Robin the moment I met her. Everything else has been a lie. To the show, to the family, and to myself." Robin gasped, not in shock, but in panic. Christine blinked. She was taken aback. Janelle covered her mouth with her shaking fingers. The prosecutor continued, "I blame you for the guilt I feel, because you were the one who kept pushing me to be honest. But the truth is, I'm scared you'll expose me, and if you ever tell anyone, it will destroy me." Murmurs spread across the courtroom. Robin's face paled to chalk. Cody was breathing heavy, almost hyperventilating. But the letter wasn't finished. The voice of the prosecutor hardened when she read the last paragraph. "If the truth ever comes out, I will deny everything." A single sentence. A confession exhaled in one breath, and now it was public. Mary's eyes filled, not with sadness, but release. Christine whispered to Janelle, "This changes everything." The judge held up his hand for silence, but even he couldn't hide the shock on his face. "Cody Brown," he said slowly, "this letter contradicts nearly every statement you have made regarding your marriages and motivations." Cody put his head in his hands. I was angry when I wrote that." "I didn't mean," Mary asked softly. "Is this your handwriting?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Cody, is this your handwriting?" "Yes." The truth fell like heavy smoke, filling the room. "You wrote it," he said, "and now you must answer to it." Robin leaned forward desperately. "Your Honor, that is out of context." Cody was overwhelmed, emotional. "Mrs. Brown," the judge snapped, "this is not your testimony." She shrank back, humiliated. Cody lifted his head up slowly, red-faced, breathing fast. "Mary," he whispered. His voice cracked again. "I didn't think you kept it." Mary's eyes brightened. "You made me feel crazy for years," she replied quietly. "You said I imagined everything. You said I twisted your words. And then one day, I realized I didn't need to argue back. I just needed proof. I just needed proof." The courtroom fell painfully silent. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Cody Brown, the man who'd controlled every narrative for over a decade, was finally cornered by his own words, and he knew it. Christine slowly leaned back, a small, satisfied exhale escaping her. "We knew he lied," she murmured to Janelle. "But this is the first time the world sees it." Janelle nodded, whispering back, "It's finally time for him to face what he's done." Robin's eyes shone with shock, betrayal, and fear. This wasn't what she had expected. This isn't the testimony she prepared Cody for. But it wasn't the version of the story she controlled. And suddenly, for the first time, Robin Brown realized she wasn't the smartest person in the room. The judge tapped his gavel lightly. "This court will adjourn for a short recess. When we return, we will continue with the cross-examination, and Mr. Brown will answer for these statements." Cody slumped backward. Robin grabbed his arm. Mary exhaled deeply, releasing years of pressure. Christine and Janelle exchanged a glance that said everything. This is only the beginning. Session 3 ends here. The storm is just starting. The air was heavier. People whispered more carefully. And for the first time since the hearing began, Robin looked afraid. Not nervous. Emotional, not afraid. She kept glancing at Cody, who sat hunched, elbows on his knees, hands clasped together, like a man praying for a miracle that would never come. His eyes didn't lift, not once. Christine and Janelle returned to their seats with a quiet confidence, the type that grows only after witnessing the truth break open like a dam. Mary sat still, hands folded, almost peaceful. But Robin, she came in as if she was stepping into a war zone that she wasn't ready for. Her hair was tucked behind her ear, something she only did when she felt out of control. Her lips pressed into a stiff line, and she kept whispering to herself, "This can still be fixed. This can still be fixed." But the courtroom doors didn't care about hope or illusions. They closed with a resounding slam. The judge came back again. "All rise." And just like that, the tension snapped back into place. Everybody sat. Everyone waited. And then it began. "Your Honor," the prosecutor said, "the next testimony will focus on Mrs. Robin Brown, as she appears repeatedly in statements, financial transfers, and the newly submitted letter." The instant the prosecutor had said her name, Robin's head had jerked up. "Me?" she whispered, eyes wide. Cody finally looked at her, his face pale, his expression desperate. This wasn't part of the plan. Robin stood up hesitantly, smoothing her skirt, her breath catching in her throat as she stepped forward. Every pair of eyes followed her. The fans in the gallery, the attorneys, the judge, and the three ex-wives whose lives had been twisted around Robin's influence for years. She took the stand. Her hands shook slightly as she placed them on the Bible. "Q, do you promise to tell the truth?" She swallowed. "I do." But the tremble in her voice betrayed her. "Mrs. Brown," the prosecutor began smoothly, "you were the last wife introduced into the Brown family, correct?" Robin nodded. "Yes." "And you and Mr. Brown legally married after he divorced Mary?" "Yes." "And during the period of spiritual marriage with the other wives, you were the only legal spouse?" "Yes." The prosecutor leaned forward slightly. "In the letter Mr. Brown wrote to Mary, he admits he chose you from the moment he met you. Were you aware of this?" Robin blinked rapidly. "No, I didn't know he felt that strongly that early. But you benefited from it, didn't you?" "What? No, I never." The prosecutor picked up a pile of papers. "These are bank statements from the last 10 years. They show repeated and significant financial transfers from the family account into your private accounts. In some cases, accounts that the other wives didn't know existed." Christine leaned over to Janelle and whispered, "I knew something was missing every month." Robin panicked. "I didn't take anything. That money was for the kids, Cody's kids, our home, bills. You're twisting." "Mrs. Brown," the prosecutor interrupted, voice cold, "were the other wives given equal access to these accounts?" Robin's lips parted, but no sound came out. That silence was louder than any confession. Christine let out a quiet laugh, bitter, sarcastic, yet full of relief. "There it is," she whispered. "The truth has finally surfaced." Janelle nodded, her eyes shining, no longer with sadness, but vindication. Mary remained still, but anyone who knew her could see the shift, the moment she realized she was finally being heard. Meanwhile, Robin was twisting a tissue between her hands. "I didn't steal from them," she protested weakly. "Cody said it was temporary. He said we were just reorganizing. He told me the family approved." "Which family?" the prosecutor interjected sharply. "The Browns, or just the two of you?" Robin swallowed hard. She couldn't answer. Not honestly. Not without revealing everything. Suddenly, Cody stood. "Your Honor, this is getting out of hand. My wife." "Sit down, Mr. Brown," the judge thundered. The courtroom jumped. Even Cody froze. The judge pointed to him. "You are not to speak unless addressed. Is that understood?" Cody shrank back in his seat, ashamed, his face bright red. She looked up in desperation at Robin, to save her, to do something. But Cody couldn't save anybody. "Sure, not anymore, Mrs. Brown," the prosecutor continued. "Is it true that shortly after Mr. Brown married you, you encouraged him to shift more emotional and financial attention toward your household?" Robin's eyes flashed. That is so unfair. Cody made that decision. I didn't force him to do anything. But did you suggest it? No. Was it helpful to you? No. Janelle huffed loudly. Even the judge did not hide his irritation. Again, Robin's voice cracked. I was just trying to keep our house together. I didn't know the others were suffering. Christine muttered. She knew. She'd always known. And for a split second, just one, Robin's mask slipped. Her eyes darted to Christine with an inner flash of guilt. A flash that everyone saw. A flash that said, she knew exactly what was happening. Mrs. Brown, we have here a set of private emails between you and Mr. Brown. In many of these emails, you make statements that appear to influence Mr. Brown's decisions regarding the other wives. Robin froze. Emails, she whispered. Yes, the prosecutor said. Emails you didn't know Mary had access to. Christine's mouth dropped open. Janelle leaned so far forward, she nearly stood up. Even the gallery gasped. Robin's shaking increased. You weren't supposed to see those. Mary lifted her chin slightly. I saw enough. The prosecutor read from the first email. Cody, they don't support us. They don't respect our marriage. You need to set boundaries, maybe distance. Robin squeezed her eyes shut. Another email. You give them too much time. You should focus more on our household. It's better for the kids. And then the last one. If Mary keeps questioning you, maybe she should spend more time on her own. It will make her appreciate what she has. The courtroom fell silent. Completely silent. You could hear breathing. You could hear the hearts pounding. You could hear the entire narrative of the Brown family collapsing, one sentence at a time. Robin broke. I didn't mean to hurt them, she sobbed. I was scared. I felt insecure. I thought if I didn't protect my place in the family, I would lose Cody. I didn't know my words would push them away. I didn't. Christine got up. You didn't know, Robin. You destroyed us. Robin burst into tears, a flood with no control, almost heaving. I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. I didn't plan to break the family. I was just trying to survive. I didn't know Cody would take everything I said so literally. The prosecutor shot back. You weren't just surviving, Mrs. Brown. You were influencing. You were steering decisions behind closed doors. And the consequences were real, lasting, and harmful. Robin covered her face. Cody stared at her, stunned, betrayed, horrified. He had been expecting Robin to back him up, keep the story straight, tough it out. Instead, she had exposed them both, without intending it, without realizing it. The judge leaned back. This testimony, he said slowly, raises significant concerns about manipulation, unfair treatment, and financial misconduct within the household. He tapped his pen against the desk. We shall have to investigate further. Robin cried harder. Cody buried his face in his hands. Christine and Janelle exchanged a disbelieving look. Mary exhaled again, this time deeper, calmer, freer than she had in years. The judge struck his gavel. This court is adjourned for the day. Tomorrow, we continue with the financial and emotional impact statements. Cody didn't budge. Robin didn't breathe. Mary rose elegantly. Christine smiled, just a little. And Janelle whispered, tomorrow, the real truth starts. Session 4 ends here. Session 5 will be the most explosive one yet. Not physically, emotionally. People walked in quieter, slower, almost like they knew they were stepping into the moment everything would finally snap. Word had already spread across town and online that yesterday's session exposed a side of the Brown family that fans had never imagined. But today was different. Today, Cody Brown himself would be questioned. And everyone sensed that whatever he said would change the fate of every person in that room. The doors opened and Cody walked in, but he didn't walk like Cody. That proud, chest out, shaking of the hair kind of stride was missing. He moved like a man carrying invisible chains, like every step hurt, like each stare hit him. His eyes were swollen, dark, exhausted, not from lack of sleep, but from the weight of losing control. She followed him, but they didn't touch. They didn't look at each other. There was a wall between them now, one built entirely from the truth she accidentally revealed yesterday. Christine leaned back in her seat, arms crossed, and watched him closely. Janelle sat, upright, jaw tense, determination burning in her eyes. And Mary looked at him not with anger, not with resentment, but with something colder. Closure. In came the judge. All rise. The tension had squeezed the room like a fist. Everyone sat. And then, "Will Mr. Cody Brown please take the stand?" Whispers abounded through the gallery. This was the moment they'd all waited for. Cody raised his right hand for the oath, his voice barely steady as he said, "I do." He sat, clutching the sides of the witness chair. The prosecutor moved forward. "Mr. Brown, yesterday we heard emotionally significant testimony. Today we will address your role in the events that damaged your family. Do you understand?" Cody nodded stiffly. "Let's begin. Mr. Brown, did you write the letter Mary submitted into evidence?" Cody took a deep breath. "Yes, I wrote it." "And everything in it is true?" Yes. That was how I felt at the time." Mary didn't look away. She didn't blink. She breathed in only slowly, serenely. The prosecutor continued. "You wrote, quote, 'My heart has belonged elsewhere for years, but I didn't know how to tell you.'" Cody swallowed. "Yes." "Who was the elsewhere referring to?" Cody hesitated. Everybody leaned forward. "Robin," he whispered. Christine whispered to Janelle. He finally said it out loud. "Mr. Brown, multiple financial transfers were made to accounts belonging to you and Mrs. Robin Brown. Did you authorize these?" "Yes." "Did the other wives know about these accounts?" Cody rubbed his forehead. "No." "Why not?" I didn't want to burden them with too much detail." Christine laughed low in her throat. "Details," she grumbled, "of thousands of dollars." Janelle looked like she wished to rise and scream. Mary kept still. The prosecutor's voice sharpened. "Mr. Brown, is it fair to say that you financially favored Robin's household over the others?" Cody stiffened. "I wouldn't say favored. I would say, please answer the question directly." A pause. A long one. Finally, "Yes." The courtroom collectively gasped quietly. Robin looked down at her lap, eyes filling again. "Mr. Brown," the prosecutor said, "the emotional impact statements from your former wives describe years of neglect, isolation, and favoritism. Do you dispute these claims?" Cody's voice cracked. I didn't mean to hurt anybody. That's not the question." Cody swallowed again, his hands shaking. "I guess, no, I don't dispute them." Christine's eyes began to widen, but not in triumph. Janelle closed her eyes, finally hearing the words she'd waited a decade for. Mary exhaled slowly. This was what she needed. Not revenge, not humiliation. Just acknowledgement. For the first time in years. "Mr. Brown, we also have testimony suggesting that your decisions were influenced by Robin Brown's insecurities and requests. Do you confirm this?" Robin's head snapped up. Cody's face had gone white. I did it all to hold my marriage together. And in so doing, you destabilized 3 others. Cody's lips shook. I was too thinly stretched. The prosecutor lifted an eyebrow. Yet, your time logs show that you spent over 70% of your evenings at Robin's house. The courtroom inhaled sharply. Christine murmured, "Knew it." Janelle whispered, "It was always obvious." And Mary simply closed her eyes, not to cry, but to release. The prosecutor took one more step closer. "Mr. Brown, did you ever tell your other wives that their struggles, feelings, or needs were drama, while validating Mrs. Robin Brown's concerns fully?" "Yes." "And why?" Because she made me feel understood. She made me feel supported. She didn't fight me the way the others did." Christine stood incensed. "So we weren't obedient enough for you." "Mrs. Brown, sit down," the judge cautioned her. But Christine wasn't done. "You punished us because we had opinions. You punished us because we had boundaries." "Christine," Janelle whispered, pulling her down again. Cody stared down at the table, as if crushed by his own words. The prosecutor delivered the coup de grace. "Mr. Brown, do you realize that the collapse of your plural marriage began not because your wives abandoned you, but because you emotionally abandoned them first?" Silence. Painful, suffocating silence. Cody wiped his face, voice breaking. Yes. The entire courtroom felt that admission like a punch to the chest. Something inside him snapped. Not in anger, not in rage, but in realization. "It is not. I failed them," he whispered. "I failed my wives. I failed the family. I thought I was doing what was best, but I was wronged. I was wrong." He looked towards Christine. "I ignored you." He looked at Janelle. "I took you for granted." He looked at Mary. "I killed you." And then he turned to Robin. "And I made you believe I could carry all of this." "But I couldn't." Tears poured down Robin's face. This wasn't the defensive, angry Cody that fans knew. This was a man buckling under the truth. A man confronting the results of years of choices he refused to acknowledge. The prosecutor nodded. No more questions. Whispers erupted in the room. Finally, he said it. "Did you hear that? This changes everything." He took all the blame. Reporters scribbled like their pens were on fire. Christine wiped away a tear for no one to see. Janelle sat frozen, stunned. Mary finally covered her mouth, overwhelmed, emotional, almost shaking. Robin struggled to stand, failed, and sat again, eyes reddened, breathing irregular. And Cody? He just sat there, broken, quiet, human. For the first time in years, the judge leaned forward. Given Mr. Brown's testimony and the significant implications of the financial and emotional evidence presented, this court will now proceed into determining accountability and restitution. Cody's head shot up. "Restitution?" he whispered. The judge nodded. "Yes, Mr. Brown. You reap what you sow." Mary turned to Christine. Christine looked at Janelle. A silent understanding passed between them. "Tomorrow, everything changes." The judge struck his gavel. Court adjourned. Cody slumped backward into the chair. Robin covered her face. And Christine whispered, "This was only the beginning."